Are you an adventurer looking to take your hunt to the next level? Then you're in the right place. Welcome to East Meets West Hunt with your host, Bo Martonic.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the East Meets West Hunt podcast. And before I get into the episode here with our guest, Anna Dickey, I wanted to kind of give a brief introduction on some things that have been going on and, kind of what the stage of preparation looks like for the upcoming season. So right now we're only about a month out before I have to leave for Colorado for the annual elk hunt, and for a lot of other people, it's probably less than that if you're going out for the opener in the end of August, or some people in different states, maybe September 1st. Either way, we're looking at less than a month coming up here. Hopefully everyone's got their preparation, dialed. Do we have your bow shooting good, your broadheads are tuned, and physical fitness, preparation, scouting. I mean, there's so many things that are running through my mind right now, and that I've been really ramping up here as the season's coming up. So it's an exciting time of year. I can't wait and can't believe how quickly it actually came. But so far, been doing a lot of pack workouts still, throwing some weight in the pack, hiking, as well as some high intensity interval training, and been ramping that up in the mornings, basically with just sandbags, kettlebells, step up boxes, and some other things there. Some recent podcasts that I recorded and will be coming out soon and directly correlated to elk hunting and Western hunting has to do with talking with Corey Jacobson, who doesn't really need much of an introduction there, but he's going to be a great podcast to get out here. Also, Dan Staten from Elk Shape, I'm going to be recording with him this week and talking about a little bit from the fitness side of things, some early season elk hunting strategies, which a lot of people had asked questions about and wanted me to talk to Corey with, but we just didn't have enough time. I mean, you could talk to that guy for forever. So I'm going to be talking to Dan a lot about that, as well as also a podcast coming up this week with John Barklow, Sitka Gear. He's going to be talking about building a system and the importance of that and what it's broken down into, and not specifically to Sitka. It's not a sales pitch or anything along those lines. It's just really explaining from the ground roots level up what it's like to build a system. So I'm really excited to release some of those episodes. I still have a bunch in the bank here, as you'll see this one with Anna I recorded back in June at the Total Archery Challenge. So I'm excited to get some of these episodes rolled out and trying to get the ones that are pertinent to the time of year and what everyone's preparing for right now out and able to be listened to. So other than that, as far as from an elk season standpoint, really going through onX maps, online scouting. There's a few different changes that are going on in my hunt this year that changed the plans up a little bit, and so I'm looking at a new area and everything else, and that's been fun to kind of scour over the maps, check some things out, and I'll get into more detail on the changes in that hunt, coming up here. But other than that, I've been really getting ready for the whitetail season. I mean, as soon as I come back from Colorado, it's going to jump right into the Pennsylvania whitetail season there, and been checking my trail cameras, getting out, scouting some relatively new areas, mostly just areas I've been to in the past, and through my spring scouting, and getting some pretty good pictures on my camera that I'm excited about, as well as having a little bit of trouble with the human element of people messing with my cameras, even though that they are locked to the tree and everything there. I think I need to start taking in a climbing stick and hanging them up, out of reach, pointing down, which is something that I know a lot of people do, and I just never really had to do it in the past, but it's starting to become a problem with people messing with my cameras, which is upsetting, but it is what it is, and you got to deal with it. So be really looking forward to there's going to be some very good deer that are coming out of the mountains this year, and hoping to get down to Ohio to do some scouting here in the next month or so, which is going to be a tough timeline, but we'll see. So that's kind of what's going on right now. Got all the apparel up on the website. The new adventure hats had launched a few weeks ago and have been awesome. The sales have been great there, and really liking how those hats turned out. So check them out. As always, 3% of the proceeds are donated to Backcountry Hunters and Anglers, and we'll be sending that check at the end of the year over to them. Super excited about it. Check it out. Working on a few different designs now for the upcoming fall line of stuff here, and I think some of you will be excited with some of the stuff there. Looking at a Rut Stash T-shirt as well as one geared towards mountain bucks. So I'd love to hear some feedback on that, any specific ideas, but it's going to be cool. All right, guys, well, enjoy the episode with Anna as we dive into wild game cooking and a lot more. All right, so I am here again at the Total Archery Challenge, and I am here with Anna Lea, Outdoor Anna Lea, as most people say.
Yeah,
and
that's my Instagram handle, Outdoor Anna Lea.
Yes.
But my name is Anna Dickey, so That's what people are like, what's your name again? I don't know your name. It's Outdoor Anna Lea, so that's what I go by whenever I'm at events like this. So, but
yeah. Awesome. Yeah, it's funny how with social media now everyone knows you by your handle. Yeah. Instead of your actual name here. So it's funny because I met you here last year. Mm-hmm. Yeah, last year at Total Archery Challenge, and as we were talking before the recording, it's funny how you meet so many like-minded people at these events that you end up becoming friends with. Yeah. Over the time, you and your husband Tom have become pretty good friends of mine, and got to have dinner at your house last night.
Yeah,
and,
thanks. I'm glad you guys came over.
Yes, it was excellent.
Yeah, we made some venison wild game burgers and sausage and had a whole...
And my personal favorite, the buffalo quail dip.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites. Yeah. I think I'm gonna post that on my blog because I've had a couple people that I've made it for, and they're like, "How did you make this?" And it's my healthier version of the buffalo chicken dip because, we were talking last night too about how we try to stay healthy and eat clean. So that is, there was some bad things in there for you, like some sour cream, but most of it was the quail, which I shot in Georgia with my dad, and I poached it in Tabasco sauce. Yeah. So. Yeah, take the good with the bad. Yeah. A lot more good, I would say. Yeah, it's very good. So anyways, what I want to start out here with is kind of introducing yourself. Okay. And I'm sure a lot of people know who you are just through how your blog and your Instagram account and everything, and see all your cooking and everything there. But I want to know a little bit about you and tell listeners about that. Okay. Yeah, so like we said before, my name is Anna Dickey. I grew up here in Western Pennsylvania. Actually, my husband and I met at the resort that the Total Archery Challenge is being held at right now. So it's kind of funny that we met here, and now we shoot here together and we ski here together. But I grew up with a hunting family. My dad is a big hunter. He did a lot of hunting out west. So I grew up having crazy things like antelope and elk, and what most people don't really get to even try, but let alone, almost live off of. We didn't really buy a lot of meat, so we had all what my dad hunted. So I was hunting a little bit when I was younger, but it wasn't something that really I was interested in. I more or less did it to make my dad happy. So when my brother turned 12, I was like, okay, I'm out. You can have it. Like, my brother could be your companion and your buddy. So I got back into hunting when I started dating my now husband, Tom. My when I met him, I didn't even eat meat. I gave it up 1 year for Lent. And I was like, you know what? I don't really need this in my life. I was in college at the time, so I didn't have access to wild game. And I started doing research on hormones and factory farms and just didn't really want to eat that kind of stuff anymore. Mm-hmm. So when I was talking to Tom one day, and he's like, why don't you eat meat? And I just kind of said the same thing, hormones, the factory farming, all that stuff. And he's like, but hunting, you have your, first of all, conservation with hunting. It's the cleanest meat you can get. There's no hormones. It's all natural. And it's a really good time trying to go out and, hunt. I said, yes, you bring up a good point. So slowly started eating meat again, and then started eating all the meat in the freezer. And he looked at me and said, well, you need to start contributing. So the next year I went out and I shot my first doe. And then I said, I think I'd really like to get into archery. So the year after that, got my first bow and never looked back. So
yeah. Well, that's funny. So he kind of laid down the law there.
Yeah, he did. It was fun. So I will credit him to get me back into it. And I'm a big foodie. I love to cook. That's for me. I enjoy cooking, and I saw cooking wild game as an opportunity to use what I know culinary into what people don't normally eat with wild game. So quail dip, for example, last night I was took something that people like, chicken, which I don't really ever eat, and turned it into a wild game dish. So that's what I like to do. And I like to try to make things a little bit more healthy. I don't wrap everything in bacon and cook it in a slab of butter. So the healthy wild game is kind of what my specialty. So if you're coming over to my house, you're probably going to have something healthy in there.
Yeah, and if anyone ever has the opportunity that you get invited over to her house to eat, highly recommend it. Yeah. You definitely will not go hungry, and it's amazing. Yeah. Amazing food. So.
And we like to forage a lot too. So big into wild mushroom hunting, and we were just talking, we had stinging nettles, and wild mustard was in the salad last night. So we try to, forage and do as much outdoors as we can. We tapped our own maple trees this past year, made maple syrup. My dad has bees on a farm that we were talking about last night, so we have local organic honey. So we do the best we can.
Yeah, no, I think that's really hard in today's age, day and age, especially if you're traveling.
Yeah.
Or anything to.
So difficult. When I travel, it's really hard for me because I don't eat meat in a restaurant. So I'll usually pack jerky. Because that's really easy to travel with. Yeah, a lot of jerky. I'll tell you a funny story. When I was in Nebraska hunting with a few other ladies on social media that I kind of met, through Instagram, and we decided to go hunting for snow goose in Nebraska. And we were in the middle of nowhere in this small town, and there was 2 diners, and everything on the menu was fried, and it was all chicken nuggets, fried potato ball, all this fried food. And I sustained a diet on nothing but shredded lettuce for the whole week. And I had Cliff Bars and I had packed jerky. And the other girls were like, how do you do it? And I was like, I don't even think about it anymore. It's just something that I'm not
it's become kind of ingrained in you.
Yeah, but they were
so disciplined with it.
For so long. They were making fun of me. I don't know how you're just eating shredded lettuce and jerky all week. So I couldn't wait to get home and have a big venison steak. I had backstrap as soon as I got off the plane, I swear. It was the best, and it tasted so good. So
yeah. But. And from where we were at yesterday there at your place, you definitely have a variety of game.
Yeah.
To whether it's, the wild turkey that Tom was telling me about.
Yeah, the wild turkey.
And deer and just about anything you can
imagine.
Quail.
We had mule deer. My uncle lives in Montana, and him and my dad they own a buffalo ranch. And so we get a lot of bison, too. And, it's from his ranch, so I'll eat that. And then my dad actually purchased an organic cow from one of the local farmers up here, and I'll eat that, too.
Yeah.
So it's not I'm I don't eat anything but wild game. There's other options for me, but I'm strictly, I have to know where it comes from. So that's kind of
know where your meat comes from.
Yeah.
And it's funny because how long ago did you start doing that?
5 years.
So actually even before the whole movement of that really took off.
Yeah.
In the last couple of years, you see a lot more people trying to do that, or at least, saying that they're trying to do that. And that's so interesting to me because it's really been one thing for me in the last I'd say probably 4 years of struggling with different foods, from food allergies and everything along those lines, and really becoming in tune with how my body reacts to different foods, how much better you feel.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable when it's not, caked with hormones and everything else that's not good for you, and you don't have the inflammation in your joints.
Yeah.
And even cognitively you can think better, you can remember things. Everything comes from food.
Yeah.
I truly believe that food is there's some food that's the answer to just about anything.
Yeah, I agree with that. I have some issues with dairy, so I tend to try to stay away from dairy or isolated whey proteins and casein and stuff like that. And I have eczema, and if I have, I'm not super anti-dairy, but like I'll have it every once in a while, and when I do, my eczema flares up.
Yeah.
And it's just weird because I know, I'm like, oh, was there whey in that, or was there like casein in that? Yeah, okay, that's probably why. So
that's funny because you and I had that in common yesterday.
Yeah. Our plate, we had no bun on our burger because I just like the taste of the burger by itself. I actually had one for breakfast this morning, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
and we were just talking about how we have similar tastes in food. So
Yeah, we definitely do. And yeah, so we had basically the burger, lettuce, ketchup. I don't know if you had ketchup.
I had tomato
and
mustard, I think.
Okay.
And then corn. I didn't have any butter on the corn.
Yep, me either.
No, so I try to use all sea salt too, like from Utah. That it's supposedly better for you. It's Himalayan sea salt, and they farm it in Utah.
Yeah, they get it out. Do they get it out of the Salt Lake?
Yeah.
That's what I get the same stuff actually, and because every morning I actually have a drink with lemon juice and sea salt.
Oh, really?
Water, and it's like wake me up instead of just drinking a cup of coffee and having that rush and anxiety feel that you get from so much
the crash
caffeine.
afterwards.
Yes.
Yeah, I recently got into some more holistic things like that, and I purchased a starter kit of essential oils. They're actually I think they're based out of Utah, but I'll just do a drop of the essential oils, lemon, and some hot water, and I enjoy that more than like caffeine because I was pregnant. So when you're pregnant, you can't have a lot of caffeine.
Yeah.
So I had to like kick my coffee habit, and I just I'll have a cup of coffee every once in a while, but I started doing that just to wake me up. Like you said, it perks you right up.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. There's so many different tricks, and I love learning about it and figuring it out, and like talking to people like you. I get a different view of things and get to have some different ideas. I wouldn't say that I'm a great cook or anything there, but I do know how to grill stuff.
Yeah.
And I can cook wild game for the most part. I mean, my freezer. I'm not as I guess dedicated to it as you are, but my freezer has no chicken in it. I do eat chicken, but I don't have any at home. I eat almost 100% wild game, and so I'll have. But I do love my eggs and bacon. So usually uncured bacon, but it's for me. It was just I felt better, and I wanted to learn more about it. Like I said, I love the human body and the amount of things that you can do to optimize it and it's all through food.
Yeah.
And I truly believe that I perform better, when I'm working out or I'm hunting, and that's why, like when I go on hunts, I use dehydrated meals, and I use them through Heather's Choice.
Yeah, and I've had some of those before.
Yeah, they're awesome, and she uses, it's not wild game, but it's all like wild caught Alaskan salmon. It's grass fed bison, everything like that's in it. No dairy, no
And that's why I like
stuff.
it because I saw like no dairy on the packaging. I'm like, I need that, and like no MSG and like all the bad stuff that you hear about. So
yeah, and I get a lot of slack for it, and I'm sure you do sometimes. Oh, why this tastes good. Once you figure out what your body is capable from these type of things, it's amazing.
Yeah,
it truly is, and that's what interested me so much, and why I really wanted to talk to you about it, because it's something that a lot of people overlook in the process when you're planning for a hunt, whether you're going on a western hunt or maybe you're just whitetail hunting. It's just from cognitively, from a physical side of things, you perform so much better.
Yeah, you do. And then I just, for me too, I love knowing where my food comes from, and like we process our own deer as well. I'm sure you do the same.
Yes.
And I just think that's so cool. Like you go out and you harvest the animal, you process the animal, and it's all been in your control. So there's, exactly what you're getting. There's no, maybe there's, some fat. This is cut with something else. Like even the burgers last night, we don't cut ours with pork because I don't eat pork. So,
same here.
Yeah, and people are like, oh, well, what do you do? And I'm like, well, we just, make it work. I don't miss it. So I added an egg to the meat to help bind it because sometimes it'll fall apart if you don't have that.
I learned that the hard way. So I don't want to say that I don't eat pork, but I don't mix it with my venison burger.
Yeah.
And I was struggling with that. It would fall apart and everything. And then someone told me, like, why don't you add egg to it?
Yeah, throw an egg.
Actually, my mom told me that because she's an amazing cook as well. And so I added that to it, and it holds together.
Yeah, it binds it better.
It's so good. Like, people are like, oh, if you say, I'm sure you get this more than I do, but if you tell some of your friends or something, oh, this is venison. Oh, like,
Yeah.
It doesn't taste any different.
I always usually tell people, like, if they're coming over for dinner, if you don't eat wild game, then I'll make a fish or something like that, or a pasta.
Yeah.
But I'm like, if you're coming to my house and you're having meat, I want you all to know that it's going to be wild game. So there's no, like, is this pork? No, it's not pork. Is this beef? No, it's wild game. So we harvest it all, and it's and
basically, so instead of you have the grocery store that's doing the killing for you, you're doing it yourself.
Yeah.
And you know where everything's coming from, or you may know someone that's doing it and exactly where it came from. But that's what I kind of laugh about when people are like, I can't believe you're a hunter. That's cruel. Moving to the Pittsburgh area from a rural area, I was woke up to that. Not everyone's a big fan of hunting.
Right.
But it kind of makes me laugh when the people are eating a burger from a fast food restaurant or any restaurant, really, for the most part. Some are getting better with you can get grass fed, local.
It's kind of the movement.
Stuff,
like the millennial generation is more like about knowing where their food comes from, and
they're more in tune with it. And they want to know about it, and I think that's great. For
me too.
The hunting community.
Specifically
because one, you can have an experience of a lifetime, and that's what what this podcast and stuff is a lot about, is having these great experiences, being able to go to places that if you want to go out and say buy a car, okay, you buy a car, that's instant gratification. You have it, you love it, it's cool, but that goes away. When you go on experiences, when you go on hunts, you remember that forever. And as Matt comment that was on the podcast, he was like, he goes, there's no depreciation on memories like that.
That's a really good way to put it.
It just gets greater.
Yeah.
He goes, as it goes, it just gets greater.
And sharing those stories, like when you were over my house last night and we were, just talking about different stories. My dad was telling you about his experience on that elk hunt, how he was like 19 years old and it's a long story for another day, but the point is that it's really cool that those stories never die and they live on. And then you can tell when a hunter comes over for dinner, they're usually there for a very long time because you just go story after story. There's never anything to run out of talk about because everybody has, like you said, an experience, and it's just fun to share.
Yeah, we're not talking about negative, what the politics are.
Yeah.
Or
what's the weather like?
Or who's doing what, Well, the weather's been crappy lately. I don't think we talked about
talking
that
about a Netflix series. Like we're not talking about that. We're talking about life experiences, and that's really great.
And how much that improves, just how you look at life and the hardships that you have while hunting.
Yeah.
One, and again, I always say it's type 2 fun. Sometimes it may not be fun at the moment, but when we talk about it now, it's awesome.
Yeah, like I think my dad said last night during that story, he was like, he was freezing. They got stuck in the backcountry and they had to pack out. And he's like, I was so cold. And at the time I was miserable, but now looking back, it makes for a great story.
Yeah, and it does.
I always tell people that's an extra ingredient too when I'm cooking is the story that goes with it. So like the deer we were eating last night was from my 2017 buck that I shot 8 weeks after having my son Logan. And it was kind of cool how it happened. And as we're like enjoying the food, you tell the story of, how you harvested it. And I think that's really special too. So
one, that was an awesome deer.
Yeah, I got lucky.
Hey, I'd rather be lucky than good, right?
Yeah.
No, but you definitely put your work in from that. And that just was all-encompassing from, having Logan and everything to being able to end your season like that.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it. I'm glad that you got lucky.
Rob over here that runs the Total Archery Challenge was joking. He's like, that's a pretty good push present. And I was like, yeah, it is a really good push present. So
that's funny.
Yeah, it makes for a good story.
Yeah, it really does. And so you and Tom hunt together quite a bit?
Yeah,
okay.
we do a lot of stuff together. We fish together. We recently, last year, he got me set up with a fly rod, and we've been learning, how to do that. Getting better at it, but there's a lot to learn. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's way more gratifying than a regular
spinning rod.
Rod, but it is hard. But we do that together. We hunt together, and this year we've had to take turns because of Logan, our son. He's only 7 months old. So for turkey hunting this year, it was really difficult because he's way better at calling than I am. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go today. I'm going to go today. I'm going to go to back and forth. Yeah. And then finally the one day my mom's like, you know what? I'll come over and watch the baby for you guys so you can both go together. Mm-hmm. Of course, we didn't see anything, but so we're kind of learning the whole parenting thing and how to balance our time and not be jealous of the other one that gets to go out hunting.
Yeah. So. I'm sure that's a balance.
Yeah.
There.
We haven't had a deer season yet where we've had Logan, so that should get interesting during archery next year. But
who's gonna stay in during the run?
I don't know. That's where Grandma's gonna have to come over and watch Logan for a month straight. Just all of November.
Yeah. Have you told her that?
What?
Have you told her that yet?
No, she doesn't know yet. Okay. I don't think she'll be that sad because Logan's a pretty good baby. But
he is. Yeah, he's pretty well mannered for the
and
little guy.
I joked that Tom sabotaged me because Logan's birthday is October 23rd.
Oh.
So I was like, we got, I see what you did there, and it was a running joke. But no. Logan's birthday party is going to happen in a tree stand.
Yeah, I'm sure he's going to grow up in the hunting background.
Yeah, poor kid's not going to have a birthday party. It's only on Sundays because you can't hunt on Sunday. So we'll be like,
and that's another topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be talking to BHA about that one. But anyways, so do you feel like as far as with the relationship, is that great for you guys to be able to do something you both like?
I think it's improved our relationship even since when we were together and I didn't bow hunt because I wouldn't see him. We have property in Ohio, so him and my dad would go out and spend the weekend out there, and I was like, okay, what am I going to do? Go out there and sit in the trailer with there's no Wi-Fi or anything out there. So it was not very fun for me, and then I didn't get to see him. And whenever I started bow hunting, that was okay, we're going to pack up Friday night and head out to Ohio and stay the weekend. You could hunt there on Sunday. So we'd stay till Sunday.
Yep.
And we enjoyed being together, and we don't get sick and tired of each other. And it's kind of fun to have somebody to push you and he wants me to do good and I want him to do good. But it's fun to poke at each other who got the bigger whose name's on the Buck Slayer of the Year trophy.
Yeah.
Back to back, mine. So it's kind of funny, and I'm like, okay, well, we can do it together, and we share and we make those memories.
Yeah. Sorry about that, Tom, but you just got roasted.
Yeah, sorry. And Chuck and Lori, because it's two of our friends that live in Utah. It's the four of us, so it's all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I got the biggest mule deer in 2016, and then it shot the whitetail. It's both whitetail or mule deer.
Okay.
We just kind of gentleman's rule on which one's the biggest. And I said, I feel like I don't really deserve it this year. I was out there for one day and ended up getting lucky. And they're like, nope, you won fair and square. So Anna Dickey back to back on the Buck Slayer of the Year trophy.
Boom. Tom, you got something to live up to here, man.
Yeah, so hopefully this year I could just keep it going. Third time's the charm. We'll see how it goes. But
so you've done quite a bit of hunting throughout the United States, haven't you?
Yeah, we went on a hunting moon, in quotations, honeymoon, hunting moon.
Okay.
We went out west and we shot mule deer. Both of us got mule deer. Tom's is a beautiful mule deer too. His is really wide and mine's really tall, so that's kind of cool that we have. Actually, I'll tell you a funny story. When I shot my mule deer, I decided that I was like, I'll get a Euro mount, and they threw away the hide because we did take it to a place to get processed when we were in Montana. And the next day, my dad's like, I think you should get a live mount for that. This is your first mule deer. So I was like, well, what are we going to do? They discarded the hide. So Tom shot his mule deer the day after, and they just used his hide on my deer. So it's a Frankenstein kind of thing. So it makes for a good story when people come to our house. They're like, wow, that's a nice mule deer. I'm like, well, that's kind of cool. It's my antlers on his hide. So and that was our hunting moon. So we both have something to remember that by.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you've been doing some different Western style hunts. Is that the only?
That's the only deer we did out there was the mule deer. We wanted to do elk. We're going to do elk eventually.
Yeah.
It just, with me being pregnant last year, kind of threw off our plans a little bit. So we're adjusting. But I've been down to Georgia hunting quail. I've been to Texas hunting whitetail with Jessica from Follow Her Arrow, Jessica Byers.
Yes.
I've been to Nebraska snow goose hunting. Went down to Florida and was bow fishing. And any opportunity I get to do something different, I'm all about trying it out.
On it.
So yeah.
Yeah, and you were talking about the quail hunt.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Me and my dad got to go down to Georgia together, and we brought back about 230 quail. We didn't shoot them all. There was another father-son duo with us, and they just didn't want them. So I was like, I'll take them.
Yeah.
So we're still living on that quail. We're running low. I'm like, guess we're going back to Georgia.
Yeah, and I was thankful for that because that was the buffalo quail dip that I had last night. That was
people
think
they're small, and people don't like to do that much with them, and I love them. I think they're delicious. I make a really good quail curry.
Ooh.
I don't know if you like curry, but
I can.
it's pretty awesome. If you like spicy stuff, it's really good. I make quail pho too, like the Vietnamese pho.
Yeah.
Oh, it's really good. We were in Amsterdam, Tom and I, and we had it like really good like pho. So I asked them, can I get your recipe? And they were like, no. But I was like, are you sure? So the one lady wrote down a couple things on the napkin of how they cook it. I'm like, I could do this with wild game. That's another thing I like to do. I like to try things in restaurants, and mine was vegetarian pho, but I just added the quail to it because Tom had chicken in his, and recreate those dishes. So I made it with quail, and it turned out delicious.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's very good.
That's funny to hear. So when as far as with quail, why do you think that people don't?
They're tiny.
Is that you think what most of it comes down to?
Yeah, and I don't know. That's a good question. Because I told somebody that we eat a lot of quail, and they're like, "Why?"
Because I wouldn't think of it much as far as being able to. I mean, obviously, I would think of it as eating the meat from it, but not as something you can make so many awesome dishes with.
Yeah, even rabbit. I have
Maybe that's because I'm a man. But.
Yeah, I have a great recipe that we use with rabbit. It's rabbit raviolis in a brown buttered sage sauce, and it's so gourmet, and it's rabbit. When you tell people it's rabbit, they're like, no way. They don't believe it.
Like the bunny rabbits?
Exactly. And then actually, when we were in Montana for mule deer, I shot a couple rabbits, and I brought them back in my purse. I froze them and brought them back in my purse because we didn't have a way to bring them back. So I made rabbit ravioli, and I was like, does it, have a funny taste to it? It's probably because it was in my purse for 5 hours. And Tom's like, oh my God. TSA was probably like, what is this girl doing? But it was in Billings, so they've probably seen a lot of other different crazy things before. Billings, sure. Montana. Yeah. They're like, oh, we'll let this girl go. It's just a rabbit in her purse.
That's kind of like the Pennsylvania of the West a little bit.
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, that rabbit was good. I made rabbit hassepfeffer too, which you boil it in vinegar, and it really makes it tender, and it's delicious. Yeah. I'll have to have you over again for another meal.
I'm thinking every Sunday.
Sunday fun day dinner.
Yeah, Sunday fun day. You live, probably about a little over an hour from me. So, Sundays.
Yeah, Sundays,
I'll be over.
Sundays.
Thanks for the invitation. Yeah. Holidays, I'll be there.
Sounds good. Holidays, That's funny. Awesome. I actually made wild turkey for Thanksgiving. People were like, how did you make this turkey so good? And I'm like, I can't give away my secrets, but it was pretty awesome. When you think of wild turkey, you think it's dry, but nope.
It's all how you cook things.
Yeah, and Steve Ranella from Meat Eater is a big inspiration to me. I love his show. Yeah. I get a lot of my recipes from him, and sometimes I'll try them and tweak them. And him and Hank Shaw. Yes. I have all of his cookbooks. I think you posted on Instagram about his cookbook. Those are my favorites.
Yeah, I was at a bachelor party at a cabin actually, and they had a little bookshelf there, and I like books, so I go over and see what they had. Too. And they had that Hank Shaw. Yeah. It was Duck Goose.
Yeah, and then he has Buck Moose.
Yes, those are the two. And this one was
I forget what the first one's called, but I have that one too.
My brother owns all of those books, and he's really big into different wild game cooking, and
he's big on foraging too, which is another reason I like him.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, he is. Yeah, and Ranella, do you have his cookbooks?
I do. Tom got them for me for Christmas this year.
Awesome.
I got both of them. So I haven't made any recipes out of them yet because I usually just go to his blog.
Yeah.
One of the turkey recipes I use is his turkey spätzle. I think that's how you say it.
Okay.
It's pretty good. It's on his blog, so you guys could check out the recipe there. But it's really good. I recommend making it. So. Yeah,
it's pretty cool. So I'm sure you have a lot of friends that are non-hunters. Is that true?
That's why I started Outdoor Anna Lea. I have a personal account for Instagram, and my friends that don't hunt were like, we don't really like following you because I posted, I think, a picture of a deer heart in my hand or something like that, and they were like, they made comments to me at a party about it, and I'm like, whatever. So I just was like, well, I want to share my experiences through hunting, so I'm going to start a separate Instagram. So that's where I share all my wild game stuff, and it's become more of my, like, where I post, and I post my recipes there, and it just kind of took off and grew and worked out for me. So
yeah.
But that's why I started it, because of not having friends that hunt.
Wow. Okay. So do they come over to your house or anything? Like,
I don't know if they've been in my house. It's funny because, my friends are great, but when we're together, we talk about Netflix shows or the weather, or politics. Yeah. When I started the Instagram, I've been so fortunate, and I've met so many wonderful people, and so many girlfriends now that I have met through social media have the same interests in me as I do. And I don't know, I've gained a lot of friends that are like-minded people, and it's through social media, so I'm grateful for that. But my friends that don't hunt, we don't have so much in common anymore. So
okay, so when you were talking about that you did a mount of your mule deer. Okay, so you had the head mount, you have the hide on it and everything. What does that mean to you? And what I mean by that is, like, I know for me, when I look at a mount, I don't just see a head on a wall for display. You go, oh yeah, I killed this animal. That's not the case. It's, you look at it and you look at the face, you remember the story. You look at it, you're like, this animal lived however many years, X amount of years in the wild. When I was lucky enough to kill him, which, it is killing. That's what we're doing. But his life was taken in the most ethical way in a short amount of time. Yeah. Versus how they would die in natural causes. Yeah. Whether that's predators. So if you want to elaborate on that a little bit. Yeah, pretty much what you said. When I don't look at them as a trophy. I look at them as a story, as an experience. We have 2 Euro mounts in our bedroom that are like my first archery hunt or buck, and Tom's. I don't know if it was, his first archery buck was mounted. It's like a live mount, but I forget, the Euro might be his first one that he got with a rifle. But those are the first deer we got. So anytime we look at them, that's what I think of. I think of, I was in the tree stand by myself, and it was my first archery buck. I pulled back my bow, and I flung the arrow, and all these, they got rushed with emotion, and I was kind of crying, I'm not gonna lie, and the buck went down 10 yards, and I was looking around did I do a good job? Did I do it right? And there was nobody else around. So I just remember in that moment, my pap had passed away a couple years ago, and I just looked up and I was like, I know somebody who saw that. Yeah. And so when I look at that buck, I'm flooded with those emotions again. Yeah. It's kind of cool because I'll never forget that experience, that story. And those type of hunts and everything bring out emotions that you don't usually tap into. Yeah. And by honoring them is what I like to call it, when you put, their head on the wall. Yeah. Is you're honoring that deer. I think it's fair, so you're using every part of it. Okay, you get the meat. You do that, you have share the memories, and then you're able to honor that deer, his life, on the wall or whatever it may be. Yeah. And that's kind of the way I look at it. Yeah. And I think it's awesome to be able to do that. And the stories, again, going back to me talking to your dad last night. Yeah. Going down, looking at those old photos. I love old photos. And he has some great stories if you ever need somebody to be on a podcast. But he likes to talk. He's like me. So he has some amazing stories. Yeah. Him and I should have recorded last night. Yeah, you should have. Yeah. That story of that elk hunt was unbelievable. Yeah. And then with the black grizzly bear that he didn't end up shooting, but he's like the one that got away. Yeah, so there's always the one that got away. You'll have to come to my parents' house
we live like 45 minutes from here. You'll have to come and check out his mounts, because even that moose he shot in the Yukon was record book at the time. It's with a bow. It's like, this thing is humongous. It's
really
gigantic.
Well, yeah, the moose are huge
yeah.
all around. You know, I couldn't imagine walking up, to that, and I hope to do that in the next few years. I'm trying to plan a trip to Alaska.
And moose is delicious too. So if you shoot one, I'm gonna come over. I'll cook it if you want me to.
Yeah, you might have to help me. You might have to help me with that. But you guys are definitely always welcome over.
Yeah.
To do that cooking. So that's awesome. But yeah, that's what. That's why I like talking to people like you and your dad and your family and your husband and everything that are like-minded. And I'm just glad that, events like the Total Archery Challenge and social media and everything brought us together.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I'm one to blame for this too. Sometimes, I blame social media for some negative things. But I find so much more positive things out of it. And I think it's kind of the mindset you look at. Because I would not have met half the amount of people that I have without that platform. And if you use it positively, like you have and everything, you can meet amazing people, and then that leads to amazing experiences and wonderful places. So
with my Instagram, I try to be as respectful as possible, and I do everything with a tasteful manner. I don't want to disrespect the animal, or so I try to be as tasteful as I can. And if I get a negative comment from somebody who doesn't understand hunting or that's not what they're about, I delete it. I don't start a rebuttal. That's not the platform that, it should be debated about. And those kind of people are just so close-minded when it comes to hunting anyway. It's not worth my time.
Yeah.
So I'll just delete and block them. So I try to keep, the positive about hunting. And I don't want somebody that is a friend of mine that might follow me on Outdoor Anna Lea that's not a hunter to, get a bad taste in their mouth for hunting. I want them to see, we don't just shoot the animal for the back straps. We take the liver and the heart and we put it in a dehydrator and we make dog treats. And I take the bones and I roast it down and I make my own stock. And I eat the heart, if we don't use it for the dog treats. But I try to use every single thing from that animal that I can out of respect for the animal, but also because I don't want to go out and shoot something and not use it, because for me I would just feel like I wasted a life.
Yeah.
And I want to be respectful and do my best to show people that that's not what hunting is about. It's not about just mounts on the wall. It's about the experience and what you get from that hunt. So
and it makes you grow and appreciate so many other things in life. It's just, and I really harp on this a lot, but some of the hunts that I've been able to do over the last few years, and actually even my whole life growing up with my dad, teaching me the right way, that has been, life-changing for me. It's made me grow from a business perspective with work. It's made me, work harder for, everything, whether that's, building relationships with people. It's everything is all-encompassing. And when you do things like hunting, which hunting is hard, and it's not easy to go through and take all the little pieces, all the, the organs that you may be able to consume and the meat and cut it up and process it. That stuff takes time.
Oh, our whole fall is dedicated to hunting.
Yes.
And that's not just sitting in a tree stand, which I love to do. After you harvest it, we're like, okay, we have work to do now and we got to process this thing. And it takes up, and then we make, the food. We made the summer sausage and the sticks from September to December is 100% dedicated towards hunting or some sort of aspect of hunting. So it takes up a lot of time, but I think it's worth it and I love it.
Yeah. And that summer sausage, I was just having a couple of pieces of it.
Really good.
Again,
yeah. I'm glad you like that.
Yeah. Luckily, Anna gave me some to take
go
back and snack on here while recording between podcasts. So that's been keeping me fueled all morning.
Yeah. I have some in my backpack too. I was like, I'm going to get attacked by an animal up on the hill because I smell like meat. So, but we try to do our best.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's what I like to hear. And again, these are the type of people that I want on this podcast to be able to express, the hunters aren't savages.
Yeah, no, we're not.
No,
if you see me walking down the street,
people.
you would look at me and be like, that girl's not a hunter. But and I like that too, trying to break that mold and that stereotype that hunting is. People tend to have this idea about who hunters are in their head when they're not hunters, but there's take a look around at the Total Archery Challenge. There's so many girls here this year, which I'm really happy to see. There was a lot last year, but hunting's not just, the stereotypical Elmer Fudd kind of hunter. There's
shooting deer out of trucks with beer cans rattling around and on the floorboards,
exactly. So,
and I think the hunting industry is starting to do a lot better job of making that not the the focal point, and letting people know that we are about conservation, and we love animals. We do. I love animals. But
I cry whenever I shoot a deer. Yeah. I mean, not now, but when I first started hunting, like, it's emotional, and I enjoy animals. We have pets, It's not like we hate animals, so we're just gonna go out and shoot them,
And you can bet when I kill an elk this year.
Yes.
Okay, I say when I kill an elk this year, that I'm gonna be pretty emotional about it. I like to think, manly man, but I'm gonna get emotional.
You'll be emotional.
There's no doubt about it. When you put that much work into something and that much time, and then taking an animal's life, that's something that it's not easy.
Yeah, it comes with a heavy heart.
It does.
You're obviously excited whenever it happens, but you're also like a little bit, okay, well, I just took something's life. I'm going to eat it and respect it, but it is, I don't know, it weighs a little bit heavy on my heart sometimes.
Oh, it does. It 100% does. And us as hunters and conservationist people, that's stating it a lot, nowadays, but it's so true. How much money, just from a money side of things, goes towards it, from all the, all the goods that, that we buy, the equipment and everything. And then from just external things, backcountry hunters and anglers that donate to membership there, the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation.
Yeah, the National Wild Turkey Federation.
Yes. QDMA, the Quality Deer Management Association. All of these organizations that are doing so many things to preserve the habitat, the wild places, the public land that we're able to access, as well as just the overall management of these animals and the herd. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
And that's all hunters. Those are people that choose to kill these animals, but they're doing it with the mindful that to help these species grow and become better and live in absolute wild places.
Yeah. I like that hunting is conservation. When people get on me about it, I'm like, do some research and then get back to me. And let me know how much research you find on people that aren't hunters, how much they're doing for the conservation of land. And people don't even know that, you couldn't turkey hunt in almost, what was it, 47 states for a long time. They were almost extinct. And because of hunting, they brought them back. Same with elk. People don't realize that. So that's for another podcast because it gets me all fired up.
It is.
It ruffles my feathers.
Speaking of turkey.
Yeah.
But, and it's funny when you're saying about when people leave negative comments, on your Instagram page and everything. When I get those, my first intention is to fire back. That's what my mind.
Tom he usually stands up for me sometimes.
I'll sit back. I'm like, all right, close the app, go on with what you're doing, and then go back and look at it. Normally by then I can make, an educated comment. Relax.
I usually just delete it because I'm like. That's how my personality. But my husband sometimes will rebuttal. Yeah. But I'm like, I don't want to start I'll wake up. It's like 60 comments on one picture. I'm like, oh, man, here we go. So.
Oh, awesome.
But I'm really excited that you invited me to be on this podcast. I could talk to you all day.
Yeah, I know. And, like I said, last night we should have sat a microphone in the middle of the kitchen.
Yeah, we should have. All the stories.
But anyways, again, I really appreciate you coming on the podcast. And where can people find a little more of you and your absolutely amazing cooking? So if anyone wants to do these cooking, listen to her right now.
So you can follow me on Instagram at Outdoor Anna Lea. It's ANNALEA. There's no H on the end.
I thought it was Anna Lee.
Yeah. Well, my mom spelled it wrong, so it can be pronounced Lee. I go by Anna Lee, Anna Lea. And then my blog is www.outdoorannalea.com, and I post recipes there. And I'm trying to get better at it. It takes a lot of time to perfect a recipe, photograph the recipe, write the recipe, and then post the recipe. So I'm getting better at that. Yeah. I have a couple awesome ones on there right now. There's my morel meatloaf with venison is off the hook.
Awesome.
So you can check that out.
I think I'll be looking for that when it comes out myself. So all right. Well, again, thank you very much, and thanks for listening to the East Meets West Hunt podcast, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of East Meets West Hunt with your host, Bo Martonic. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit eastmeetswesthunt.com, Facebook at East Meets West Outdoors, and Instagram at East Meets West Hunt. If you enjoyed today's episode, please review and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.